All right, so today we're going to go over how to build your sequence photography in multiple exposures within Photoshop. So if you have access to Photoshop, you're going to open up the application and you're going to go to File, Scripts, and Load Files into Stack. So first you have to make sure that all the photos that you plan on using are in a folder that is just those photos. So I've created one called Time Lapse on my desktop, and then I'm going to click the first one and then hold Shift and click the last one and hit OK. It's going to show me all of the images in that folder, and I'm going to hit OK. Photoshop will then load each of these layers atop one another in a stack, so making that process of copying and pasting much easier for you. You might want to check the order of your layers. So this is the first step of my dancer's preparation for her jump, and she's getting ready further. She's lifting her leg's halfway, not all the way, fully, and full extension, landing, slow, back, down. Okay, and then the background will be blank. So I'm going to go through and change the blending mode on my images. So we went over this in multiple or double exposures, and it's the same process. Photoshop, I find, is a little bit easier to play with. The screen function and the multiply function, but you can also play with the opacity. So I'm going to try screen for these, and I'm going to lower the opacity the most on the preparation steps. So you want to play with this until you get it to a way that you're happy with. I'm going to change the next one to screen, so now I can see the preparation legs behind a little bit better. And I'm going to take that one fairly low down as well. I'm going to choose the most important part of the movement as the fullest opacity. So sometimes even just lowering the opacity might work for you. As you layer more screens and multiplies on, sometimes more of them will become harder to see, especially if they're in one place, like my dancer is for this motion. So I'm going to gradually bring up the opacity as it gets to the more important parts of the picture. So as you can see, if I go to a multiply function, it's a little bit more visible on that leg than when I'm on screen just because of the background. So you can always play with it. You can also try overlay too. I'm going to keep this one because it's a more important image at a higher opacity. And I would basically go through and adjust as you're going. Some of these might not be needed on screen. Maybe they're just kept at normal and a low opacity. My goal here is to get the height jump, the highest jump, at a fully visible frame. So I'm going to turn my first layer on, and I have it on screen. Let's go back to normal, and then I'm going to layer my second image on, and I'm going to bring that one up just a bit more because I'm losing some of those. Now I'm going to turn both of these off and find the image with the highest jump. So this is the one that I want to be the most visible. So sometimes it's better to try working from below. So maybe I want to go with the follow-up, but remember that your layers are applying downward. So if I hit screen on this one now, I can see her legs in the fullest extension of the jump a lot better. And then if I go to the one below it, then maybe that one, I bring that opacity down to 75. Okay, so now as I bring in the third layer, again, I'm losing some of that of the top one. So up to you how many images you include. I find it can get tricky if they're all stacked atop one another and you want them to be really clear. So For example, this landing image, it needs to be much lower down so that I can see the legs in the full extension there. Now, depending on what you filmed or took burst photos of, you may decide to go back out after doing this and realizing like, oh, hey, like if they're all in the same spot, it's kind of difficult to really see much of the differences too. And then you might decide to turn some of them off, right, to make it a little bit more clear. So that one, I'm gonna lower that down and bring that to screen as well. So it's a little bit of play here, and I hope this helped you out if you're using Photoshop. I'm definitely going to crop this image at the end, and I'll share it with you on my Wix website. When you're finished editing your photo in Photoshop, make sure to go to File, Save As, save on your computer, and save when you're completely done as a JPEG or a PNG. So that you save the image quality as best you can. I hope that helps everybody, and I hope you're doing well during social distancing.